All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thanks again for stepping onto your mats for today's class. Please know that if you haven't taken class with me before, or if it's been a little while, that everything that I do may not be available in your body. So just take what I'm doing and kind of superimpose it into what's available in your body the best that you can. I'm going to give you a lot of options, but there still might be something that is better for you that I'm not mentioning. So if you know what that is, go ahead and just do what's best for you, okay? And that could mean substituting an entire shape, right? Sometimes we're just not supposed to move our body a particular way for maybe ever, or maybe just for a certain amount of time. So best thing you can do is honor that in your body and just try to listen. And if you find something new happening in your body today, just try to take note of it, maybe back out a little bit, all right? So we're going to begin like we always do in our foundational space, building mountain pose, Tadasana. So look down at your feet. Separate your feet about hip width distance. If you are unsure of what this is in your body, a lot of times we set up wider than we need to. Take two fists next to each other. Take your time bending down and place those fists close to in between the big toes. Now, if you can't fold all the way down, just kind of, close one eye and aim and do the best you can setting yourself up, okay? What you don't want to do is set yourself up too wide. So a little bit closer in is a better choice. We'll put a little bend in our knees now. It feels a little bit awkward. It's that space right before you start to sit down and just hold it there. All right, so let's think about the feet. Lift up your toes, spread them wide, and then place them down on your mat. Begin to rock a little bit forwards and backwards, keeping that awkward little bend in your knees. Feeling the toes lift and lower maybe as you rock forwards and backwards. And then you can add a little movement side to side. And then come back to your center. So grounding down from the four corners of your feet, that's the big toe mounds and the outer edges of your heels. Touch your little toe mounds and the inner edges of your heels. From there, we keep that little bend in the knees as we press down from the feet. You might feel your arches lift, you might not, okay? So from here, let's think of the core. Lower belly draws in and up, pelvic floor draws up. Belly button might feel like it's drawing back towards your spine, which is often going to bring your shoulders forward. So then think of lifting your shoulders up and back, lifting up your chest. And it might take a moment for you to open up there. So give your shoulders a few rolls. You could do one shoulder at a time. And then let them settle. When you let them settle, feel like the back of your shoulder blades are drawing down towards the center of your spine and the back. Kind of like a little shape inwards with the shape of the shoulder blades into the scapula, into the spine. Maybe you can feel it. Palms are forward, not too exaggerated, right? Just natural. And then let your eyes close. Now with your eyes closed, bring the line of your jaw back just a little bit. And then take that bend out of your knees by engaging your thighs, pressing down from the heels, and reaching up out through the center of the top of your head. If you could think of something pulling you up from that center line of the top of your head. Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. If it's a part of your practice, palms together at the center of your chest. You may like to create an intention for your practice in this space. You may like to just have a moment of silence. This doesn't have to mean anything, but it certainly can if that's your preference. And take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Opening up your eyes, interlace your fingers. We'll move into our breathing exercise. If you haven't practiced with me ever or in a while, you may just want to take a few moments to watch before you jump in on this one. This breathing exercise can seem really complicated in the beginning. So we'll interlace the fingers and place them underneath the chin. Then look up towards the ceiling and create a loud ha sound, bringing the elbows towards each other, like this. Then on your inhale, level your chin. Lift up your elbows. Just lift them up the best you can. On your exhale, head back, loud ha sound, squeezing the elbows in. So not dumping into the head, just stretching the front of your throat. Inhale, level your chin, lift up your elbows, keep your shoulders down. Exhale, head back, squeeze the air out. Use your core muscles to help. Inhale. Exhale. Big, loud breath. It might feel awkward. Inhale. This time at the top of your inhale, try to take in an extra sip. Maybe you can lift those elbows higher. Exhale, head back. Squeeze the elbows in. And release your arms down by your sides. Back to your mountain pose. On your inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, release your index fingers, cross your thumbs. Heel toe your feet in towards each other. And just work to straighten your arms the best you can. If you have a bend in your elbows, fine. Just think of lifting up the chest, whatever you do, instead of bringing the body forward. And find a little movement side to side. So it might be better for you to have your arms down by your sides doing this. You could have one arm down at a time. Hands could be at heart center. Hands could be at your hips, right? Just finding some movement, space between the ribs and the hips. Once this starts to open up, feeling less tight, you can add some movement forwards and backwards. Keep the core drawn in. And when you go backwards, let's not call it a back bend. We're not really going into that space. We just want to lift up the chest, draw the shoulders back, pressing from the feet, and maybe you move through the hips and the shoulders. You might reach the arms forward and try that out. Just see what you can move around. Maybe it circles around your waist. Then we'll come back to our centers. If you can, bring your toes to touch. Keep a little space between your heels. Engage from the thighs and glutes. Zip up your core. On your inhale, lift your chest. And on your exhale, we'll stretch up and over to the right. We're going to ground from both feet, but really emphasize the left foot, pressing down, lifting up from the chest, grounding from the feet, pulling up from the core. You might begin to lean a little forward, so work on lifting up the left shoulder. We're keeping the hips forward. Sometimes they want to twist. Deep breath in to lengthen up. Exhale, and maybe you can reach a little further. Work into that stretch in your left hip flexor, right? You might feel that right in the front of your hip. One more time, breathing in. Exhale and reach. Use your core to come back to your center. Take a moment to reset, lengthen up, find your breath. On your inhale, get a little taller. On your exhale, we'll stretch to the left. So even though we're stretching to the left, the stretch is actually happening down the right side of your body. So ground those feet down. Maybe you emphasize the right foot a little more. Lifting up the chest. Where's your chin? Is it really far forward? It might be. Try to bring it back. Maybe you bring your biceps back. Deep breath in to find some space. Exhale to maybe deepen. Don't force it. Inhale back to your center. And on your exhale, release those arms down by your side. Shake it out. That can be a lot of blood flow for us. We're going to work into our first little back bend. Take your hands, flip them down, place them at your lower back. I'll turn to the side. We want to try to draw the elbows in towards each other. So those little shoulder blade points at the bottom. Try to squeeze them in. Deep breath in. On your exhale, press your hands into your lower back. Begin to shift the hips a little forward. As your hips move forward, think of your belly button lifting up. You draw the belly button in towards the body, but you're aiming your belly button upwards. Shoulders are back. Maybe the elbows can squeeze in more. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Engage your glutes on your way up. Back to a standing position. And relax your arms by your sides. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. So I'm moving to the top of my mat now. I have 2 blocks set up. We'll work into a little forward fold step back. On your inhale, reach your arms up. On your exhale, before we fold, take your elbows out. Elbows out. Just lifting up the chest, elbows out. Nice stretch for the underarms, front of your chest. Inhale, arms reach up. And on your exhale, forward fold. There's lots of ways to forward fold, right? You know this. So move into what's available to you and take your time. Feet hip width distance. Grab opposite elbows. Keep a bend in your knees. Let your head be heavy. And just breathe. Take a few moments here to breathe and be still. Work with gravity. See what happens. And then maybe you begin to move a little bit. Move your head around. Move your elbows. There might be something else you like to do. If you'd like to deepen here through your shoulders, if your rotator cuffs are healthy, take your hands to your lower back, interlace your fingers, knuckles reach up, and then overhead, working with just a natural range of motion. Release your hands down to blocks or to the floor. Lower your hips down towards your heels and try to round your spine here. Shoulders back, elbows in. Lengthening the spine and then tucking your chin to your chest, rounding your spine. Then begin to look a little forward here. Lengthen through your neck. Lift and lower your heels. If you've never done this before, it can be really, really tough, right? So just take your time. Maybe you just lift your heels a little bit, right? It doesn't have to be this huge thing. I've just been doing this for a long, long time. So that's why I can get those heels as high as I can. All right, so make your way back to your fold. Feet hip width distance, grab a block. Now, if you're working with a traditional style fitness block, then you can turn it up to a higher level. You want your spine to be as lifted up and flat as you can. So if you had tightness in the hamstrings and hips and you need to bend your knees, great. But that's probably going to dip your heart down and make you kind of sink down a little further than you need to on your block. So compensate for that. Give yourself some strength, some length in your spine. It'll be easier to breathe too. So bend both knees and bend your left knee more. Round the left hand down. Engage your core on your inhale, twist. Think of space between your ribs and your hips. Press the hips away. Left shoulder under. Those shoulders are still rotating down your spine. Maybe you look up. Maybe it's healthier for your neck to look down. Deep breath in. Slow breath out, working to twist a little deeper there at the end. On your next exhale. And release back to your forward fold. Take your time unwinding, right? No need to rush there. And we'll switch it out. So right hand grounds. Bend both knees, bend your right knee more. And on that inhale, twist, working with your breath. Inhales, create space. And then move into that space with your exhale. Press your left hip away. Right shoulder under. Both shoulders back towards each other, pressing through the front of your chest. Deep breath in. Exhale to twist. Release your left hand down, back to your fold. So set up both blocks. Maybe you don't need them, but most of us do. I know I always use them. Walking forward, roll your shoulders back. Inhale to lift up your chest. On your exhale, bend your knees, hold it here. Pick up the right foot, point your toes straight back, pull in your core, and then step your right foot back into a lunge. Lower your back knee down. Walk your blocks towards your body to help you sit up tall. And then maybe you have to inch your left foot forward. It depends on your tightness. Sometimes you can move around your tightness to get into a shape. Sometimes it just takes a few breaths to let the body soften. So, don't rush it. Your body might just soften here in the next few breaths. So right hip forward, then down. Left heel feels like it's pressing down and drawing back. Deep breath in. Exhale slowly to your half split. Flex your left foot. Press your hips back. Walk your blocks back with you to sit up tall. You may like to move through some nerve glides here. Point and flex. Point your toes away from your body. Squeeze your left thigh. Flex your foot. Maybe you wiggle your toes. Then flex your foot. Engage your core. Inhale to your lunge. When you inhale to your lunge, it becomes about the front of your right hip. When you exhale to your half splits, it becomes about the belly of the hamstring of the left leg, the calf, the ankle flexibility. Inhale to your lunge. Exhale to your half splits, hold it here. If you'd like to deepen your fold, elbows in, shoulders back. From your hips, hinge forward, right? So we're not rounding the spine to fold forward. We're lengthening the spine and hinging forward. So that might mean the hips shift back a little bit. Inhale back to your lunge. Tuck your back toes. Lift your knee up off the mat so you're back in your lunge. Looking forward, hover your right knee down. Inhale, lift up the right leg. Hold it there for a breath or two if you can. And on your next exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway through your spine. On your exhale, bend your knees, hold it there. Pick up your left foot, point your toes. Step back to your lunge. Take your time. This could be many, many steps. That's okay. Right knee lines up with your right heel. Lift up your chest, slide the blocks back. Now we feel the left hip press forward, maybe a little bit down. Deep breath in. On your exhale, half splits, flexing your right foot. So maybe you move through those nerve glides, pointing and flexing could be so different for you on this side. Flexing your foot, engage your core. Inhale to your lunge. And remember that lunge is about the front hip, so left hip now, forward and down. Exhale, half splits, flex your right foot. Inhale to your lunge. Exhale, half splits, hold it here if you'd like to add that bit of depth, elbows in. If you're pinching into your side, hinge forward. Maybe you shift back into the hips a little bit for some extra space, but try not to round. If you're rounding, you're shortening the muscles. It's a disservice to the rest of your body. Inhale to your lunge, tuck your back toes, lift your knee up. Looking forward, try to hover the left knee down, just bend it down a little. Inhale, left leg lifts up, flex your foot. Exhale, forward fold, hang heavy. So we're gonna move into a little toes, hands to feet, many variations here. So you bend your knees as much as you need to. You might start by taking your hands behind the back of your legs. You might be able to lower the, bend the knees enough that you can pick up your heels, place your hands in your feet. You might like to have your hands under the front of your feet or toe lock, peace fingers around your big toes. Shoulders back, inhale, lift up your chest. On your exhale, pull your upper body down. So core draws in, pelvic floor is engaged, waist towards the toes. Pull your upper body down. Head is heavy. And you just keep repeating that. Pull in the core. Lift up the hips. Shift the weight to the toes. Spin your thighs inwards. Over time, you'll open up here. And you may need a bigger bend in your knees to help your body open up. You might need to use a strap under the feet as well. We'll stay here for one more breath in. On your exhale, pull. Release your hands to your shins. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale and fold. Slowly roll up. Okay, so today we're going to work on just some wide leg hip stretches. If there is something that you need to do instead, maybe you need to be moving your body a different way, do that instead. We're only going to be here for a couple of minutes and then be on the floor for the remainder of class. All right, so from the top right of my mat, I will be stepping out to the left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, big step out to the left. Arms out to a T shape. Of course, you can put your hands in a better place if that's better for you. Engage your thighs and glutes. When you do that, you should feel a little wrapping action where the hip bones move forward. Inhale, lift up your chest. Exhale and fold forward. Hands to the floor or blocks and begin to just move the hips side to side. If you have a larger range of motion available to you, go for it. And then come back to your center. So turn your toes inwards. Grab one of your blocks, place it up on its highest level. Left hand down, right hand at your lower back. Weight towards your toes. Inhale to twist. So try to keep the hips level. It's okay to drop the left hip down a little bit. Try not to let the left hip completely collapse. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And release back to your fold. Head hangs heavy for a moment. Let's switch it out. Right hand ground. Shift your weight forward. Left hand at your lower back. Opening up into your twist. So maybe thinking of an internal rotation of the thighs helps to keep you from dropping your right hip down. Naturally, it's going to shift down a little bit, but there's a difference between that and collapsing it. One more breath in. Exhale, back to your fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. You can have your hands at your hips for more stability. You can have your arms up to a T shape for more core strengthening. Inhale up, arms up overhead, heels in, toes out. Right, so we were just toes in, heels out. Now we're going heels in, toes out. Arms up overhead, deep breath in. On your exhale, slowly begin to bend the knees. And you may need to move the knees a little bit side to side to feel more comfortable or safer in this shape. You could also do this from a chair. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring your hands down through heart center. And if you have it available to you, press your hands into each other to lift up the chest. It's a little isometric hold for the upper part of your body. Pull in the pelvic floor. Try to open up those knees a little more. Lower down one more inch. Inhale, keep the arms there or reach them up overhead. Exhale, hands through heart center. Maybe you lower. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower down. And remember, you can just be holding it where you are. One more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to lower and hold. If you've got that pressure into the hands, lift up your chest. Inhale, straighten the legs slowly. Reach the arms up. Turn the toes back in. Bend your left knee. Left foot meets the right. Exhale, arms by your sides. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, big opening through the chest. Elbows out. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lifting up halfway. On your exhale, squat and curl just like in the beginning of class. So it may feel way different now, right? And then we'll look forward and have a seat. All right, so we'll do a separate leg stretch from the floor, and the rest will be restorative. We'll send the right leg out. Now, if we have some really tight hips, hamstrings, lower back, it may not be possible to bring the left foot into the right thigh. So it is okay to have the left leg far away from you. But what you want to add is like a little security for underneath your vulnerable joints, like your knee. So you could put a little block there. If your knee is so high up, use something bigger or sit up on something like a small pillow. Take a look at your right foot, flex your foot so the toes are back, the toes are not kicking out to the right. Take your hands and twist your torso. Line the center of your chest up with your right leg if you can. Inhale, lift up your chest. And your exhale, hinge from the hips. Think about where your hips are. Put your hand there if it's helpful and fold. The second you feel some rounding, back up, lengthen up, hinge forward, deepen from that space. If we have a hard time reaching the floor, no problem, just get stuff to help you out. Bring the floor closer to you. Try to get your shoulders level. Sometimes we lean to one side. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And make your way back up. We'll switch it out. Left leg extends. Right foot into the left thigh or wherever's best for you. Flex your left foot. It's an internal rotation of the thigh. Both hip bones are grounded. Hands to the floor. Twist your torso. Inhale, lift up your chest. On your exhale, hinge forward. Hinge from the hip points. Just putting my hands on the hips and even just pressing them down a little bit is very helpful. But if that hurts your upper body, your neck, your shoulders at all, don't do it. Keep your shoulders back. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And make your way back up. All right, so we'll send both legs out. Move towards the top of your mat. Press down through the big toes. We're gonna lower to our back if we need to be more therapeutic. Just roll to your side, lay back. You know how to do it the best for you. If you like to work on your core, we're gonna place the block in between the thighs. Reach the arms forward, pressing through the feet. Inhale, lift up your chest. And on your exhale, slowly lower down. Pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Move the block to the side. And we want to think knees in towards the chest, but at the same time, pressing your tailbone down towards the floor. So think about where those hip bones are. And the same sort of fold is happening here, where your back is lengthened because it's on the floor, but what might try to curve up is the hips. So press the hips down. Take your hands in front of the shins. Maybe you have a tighter grip available to you. Deep breath in. Exhale, pull the knees in. Press your hips down. Flexing your feet. Inhale. Exhale, pull your knees in. Last one, inhale. Exhale, pull your knees in. Slowly loosen that grip. And we're gonna find sometimes it's called air chair. So we wanna take the toes, flex the feet, and then lower the toes until you cannot see them from where your knees are, okay? And you're gonna place your hands on your thighs, not your knees. Do not hold on to your knees. Now you may need a block in between the thighs here if your knees are collapsing inwards, but you don't place the block in between the knees, you place it more towards the thighs. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Press your lower back into your mat. On your inhale, draw your knees in at the same time. Press your hands away into the legs. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Back to those isometrics where we're drawing the knees in towards the hands, pressing the hands into the knees so there's no actual movement happening, just muscular engagement. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And release. Bring the feet together, let the knees open. We're not here for just not too long, just a couple of breaths. If you like to rock the hips a little side to side, if you'd rather have the knees together and the feet out, drawing one knee in and the other, just a little movement through the pelvis, basically. All right, so bring both knees in, give them a quick squeeze, reset your spine, extend your right leg long, hang on to your left knee. Deep breath in. Exhale, pull your left knee towards the left side of your body. Kick out from your right heel. We want to stretch both sides. Deep breath in. Exhale, pull, kick the right leg. Deep breath in. Exhale and pull. Place your left foot to the floor. You might like to slide your left hip over a little bit, just helping your spine set up for a twist. You can try it with or without, see which one works best for you. And then you want to use something like a big bolster over to the right side for your left leg. If you don't have a big bolster, just do the best you can with what you got. Try to set up the knee and the ankle equally. And we want both shoulders down on the mat. So if your left shoulder's up a little pillow or a little towel underneath it to support it. Arms out, palms up. You might need to have your palms down if your rotator cuff does not like that. Really important to listen to those little things. And so we've been engaging through the whole class, or at least I have been. So from here, you want to think about scanning your body and beginning to let go of that engagement. We hold a lot in our hips and our lower back. So the more you can get that area to soften, to realize that you're supporting it and not putting it in a place where you're creating injury, that's where you gain flexibility. And over time with restorative practices, those cortisol levels go down, so that fight or flight reaction. So I'll be quiet for a few minutes. If you need more support at any time, please give it to yourself, okay? Close your eyes if you can. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. When you are ready to move, draw your core in a little bit before you roll back to your center. Sliding your hips back over if you moved them ahead of time. And then take your support to the other side. The left leg extends, right leg draws in, flex both feet. Inhale. Exhale and pull your right knee towards the right side of your body. Deep breath in. Exhale and pull. Inhale, let your belly expand, expand your lungs. Exhale, pull. Right foot down, option to slide your hips over a little bit, then take your twist. Right leg across your body, arms where it's best for you, keep both shoulders grounded. Sometimes weighted blankets or little like, if you have like little fitness sandbags, they can be helpful as well to help areas that just lift up a little bit that have a hard time settling down. So if you had that in this shape, that would be typically over the right hip. Maybe from the right hip all the way down to the right knee. You might take it from the right knee all the way to your right shoulder across your body. There's a lot of options always. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Take your time rolling back to your center. Slide your hips back into place. Knees into your chest, giving yourself a quick little hug. And then we'll set up for Supta Baddha Konasana or reclined bound angle, but a supported variation. So I like to use a bolster here. You could use blocks and pillows. Just try to get your heels higher than your pelvis. If this hurts your lower back, don't do it. If this feels worse than if you were to do this with just blocks underneath your thighs, then just put blocks under your thighs instead. Arms down by your sides, tuck your shoulder blades, let your eyes close. And as you settle into the shape, just see how you can get heavier in your own body. Heavy through your shoulders, your hips, your heels. Just notice where you are unconsciously engaging your muscles. We are all doing it. You're welcome to stay here, and this can be your Shavasana. If there's a different shape that you would prefer for Shavasana, take your time moving there. If you're in an open hip position, take a moment to just close the legs from one side to the other. And then you might just send your legs over your bolster. Of course, there might be something else you'd rather do, so get there. If you're not sure what Shavasana means, it's just the final shape that we take at the end of yoga. And we let all of those other things that we experience to go and just try to be still for the last moments of class. Breathing slow and steady, eyes closed, body heavy. If you'd like to stay here longer, just mute me. Otherwise, begin to draw the knees in, point the toes away from yourself, away from your body. You might lift them up and point them. Maybe you reach your arms overhead and just try to create distance between the toes and the heels. The fingertips and the heels. Toes and heels is a nice stretch too. And then take your time rolling to whatever side you like, or just coming up to your seat, the best way for you. It's not always rolling to the side that's the best for everyone. So once you have your seat, close your eyes, sit up tall. Try to shift your weight towards the back of your pelvis so you can feel maybe a line up your spine, shoulders down, chin back. Take a deep breath in, let your lungs expand, let your belly expand. Then through your nose, get all the old air out. It is loud. Inhale. Exhale. Use your core to squeeze it out. Inhale. Exhale. Normal breath. And again, if it is a part of your practice, palms together at the center of your chest. Otherwise, just keep them down by your knees. Lifting up your chest, take a moment to thank your mind and your body for what it's capable of today. Give yourself a compliment. Thank you so much for joining me, and you call this yoga. Namaste.